You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name. Will you ease this pain? Holy breath and holy name. Will you ease this pain? Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. Holy breath and holy name. Will you ease this pain? Holy breath, will you ease this pain? Will you ease this pain? Will you ease this pain? Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. The weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy names. Will you ease this pain? Holy breath, will you ease this Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Erev Tov, good evening, where I am on the East Coast. My name is Mark Margolius. I'm the Vice President for Faculty and Programs at the Institute for Jewish Spirituality. And I want to welcome everyone who's here. I'm here not just in my work capacity, but I'm here in support of my queer family and as an ally to my queer friends, the queer community, and we are delighted as an organization tonight to offer this space in these really challenging times, especially for the LGBTQIA plus community, to be here for our queer friends, for our family, for each other, and provide this place of support at a time when it's so badly needed. So thanks for being here. I invited people as people were coming in, if you like, totally optional, up to you. If you'd like to introduce yourself in the chat, um, share your pronouns, let us know where you're joining from tonight, and just connect with the group in that way. Maybe if you'd like, mention what brings you here, what inspires you to join us tonight. And we're really delighted that tonight will be led in practice by my dear friend and colleague and teacher, Rabbi Miriam Klotz, who has been a long time teacher through the Institute for Jewish Spirituality and recently retired. And we're so delighted that Miriam is here to lead our session tonight. We'll turn things over to her in a moment. I just want to begin as people are coming in to invite you to settle into this space. When we're in a virtual space like this, it can, we may take a moment for us to experience a sense of connection with others who are here. Many of us are in our own particular space, wherever we are. But I want us to, you might want to switch to gallery view and see the faces of other folks who are here, or just scroll through the list of participants and recognize that we're here as a group to receive support, to offer support, to support each other. We're here essentially creating a minyan of support and strength and comfort and joy and affirmation tonight. So take a look around, see the other people who are here, and draw some strength from the fact that we're here. We named this program Hinenu, we're here. And so I want to begin by building off of that. One of the words in Jewish tradition, which I associate so closely with what we call Jewish mindfulness practice, is the word Hineni, I'm here, which doesn't just mean I'm here physically, it means I'm here with full presence, that I'm here in this moment. I'm present in my body, I'm present in this time, in this particular moment in time. I'm present in the space that I'm inhabiting. I'm present in this activity that we're engaging in. So I want to invite everyone, if you might have some sources of distraction around you, whether it's other apps that are open or other windows on your screen, to take a moment to turn those off. If you've got a phone nearby, if you're not on your phone, not joining us on your phone, recommend that you turn it off. Sometimes I like to demonstrate that. The only rare time during the day when that happens. So encourage you to do that. And let's just be here together. And we're going to begin just by arriving and letting ourselves settle into place. For some of us, it might be helpful to close our eyes and feel the support of the chair. If it's accessible to you to rest the soles of your feet on the floor, that could be helpful. But really, any position that's comfortable for you, we want to just begin by feeling supported. The support of this group, but also in a physical sense, the support of the seat or the cushion or the sofa, whatever is supporting your body right now, the support of the floor beneath us, and even just being cognizant of the support of the foundation of the building that you're in right now, feeling the support of the earth. And you can bring your attention to the breath as it enters and leaves your body. And there's no right way to breathe. Just see if you can let the breath come and go at a natural pace without effort on your part. Allowing the breath to arrive and allowing it to leave you and come and go. You can notice the sensations of your body. You might notice the temperature of the air against your skin, against your face, or against your arms, or the texture of the chair beneath you or the backrest. Might wiggle your toes a little bit. Maybe bring your attention to your body and to the sensations that are available to you right now. And you might pay attention to the sounds in the space, the soundscape around you. All of these can help us be Hinenu, in this state of being present. I'll invite you to just take note of how you're doing in your body right now, however it is, accepting it, loving it as it is. Even just being aware of inhabiting a body, being aware of being a soul, an embodied soul, is a moment of presence. And we can move from that into awareness of our emotions. How are you feeling? How are you feeling tonight or this afternoon, whatever time it is for you? What emotions, what feelings are present for you right now? Anxiety, fear, gratitude, joy, guilt, shame, excitement, any or all of the above. See if you can notice what you're feeling. Again, without any judgment about it, it's just how we're feeling right now. And take a moment to check in with the state of your mind. Is it agitated? Is it calm? How's the weather up there? Clear skies, stormy skies, partly cloudy, mostly sunny. How's the state of your mind? And finally, I want to take note and be aware of our spirit. What's the state of your spirit right now? How's your soul doing right now? As we settle down, that soul, which sometimes is compared with a wild animal, might come out of hiding and say, I could use a little attention right now. As if we're being very still in the forest and watching a deer or another animal. Be aware of and welcome our spirit. And so we have a little bit of awareness of our body, of our feelings, of our state of mind, and the state of our soul. And treating all of that with a lot of love and compassion. If you're comfortable putting your hand over your heart space to seal this little practice with a little bit of self-compassion, a little bit of self-love. And if your eyes have been closed, you can let them begin to open and come back to our group. Good to be with everyone tonight. Good to be with everyone tonight. As we went through that, you might have noticed or had a clearer sense or a clearer sense of awareness of how you're feeling right now. And want to invite, again, it's just an invitation, no requirement whatsoever, but if you feel comfortable sharing what came up for you about what you're feeling tonight, what you're feeling right now, and are comfortable sharing that in the chat, you're invited to do that. be as honest and as you can be. And the other thing I want to invite people to share, if you're comfortable, is what is giving you a sense of support in your life right now. So feel free to put that in the chat as well. Take a moment just to consider those questions. How are you feeling? And what's giving you a sense of support in your life right now? And I want to thank Natalie Rushinoff, who's holding our tech space today, who's putting those prompts in the chat, and you can stay with that and consider that. I want to not only thank Natalie, but I also want to thank our co-sponsors for this program, Keshet and Moving Traditions, for their partnership in this. And before I turn things over to our teacher, Miriam, I also want to mention for those who are not aware that we offer a monthly mindfulness meditation set uh, for the LGBTQ community by and for that's an affinity space specifically for queer folks. That meets monthly. Natalie will share the link for those of you who might be interested in signing up for that if you don't, are not already signed up. And just to let you know that the next session for that sit will be on Wednesday, March 12th at 12 noon Eastern, and that's hosted by Aviva Chernik. And with that, I'm really delighted to turn things over to Miriam, who's going to guide us in practice tonight. Thank you so much, Miriam. Over to you.
Well, thank you, Mark, and thank you to every one of you who is here now. I am grateful to IJS and appreciative that IJS took the initiative to create the opening for this space and this time together, and I'm deeply honored and moved to facilitate our time together, or the remainder of our time together, part of the remainder of our time together tonight, and co-facilitate the rest of it. And I want to again say welcome. Mark brought us in so beautifully, but I want to say specifically, if you are lesbian, gay, trans, queer, intersex, asexual, or you identify with other sexual and or gender identities, welcome, welcome. If you are a family member or an ally of someone who is LGBTQIA+, or many or a few or two people, anybody, if you're an ally, a supporter, a caregiver, a family member, welcome. Thank you, all of us, for choosing to be here. As a non-binary person, using she, they pronouns, I extend both welcome and gratitude, truly. We need all of us, as that sounds so obvious, but isn't it so apparent now? And it's a blessing, isn't it, to be together? So thank you. And I want to offer an intention for our time here, as we named it in the introduction, or sort of, the outreach about this time together, that coming together in spiritual sanctuary space is, and another kind of Hebrew word for that is a mishkan, a sacred dwelling place, for that which is encompassing all those dimensions of our beings that Mark led us through in that grounding meditation together. That our intention here is to really be in this mishkan, this spiritual sanctuary space, for strength, for grounding, for support, for community. Because these times are scary and hard in so many ways. So one of the spiritual challenges facing those of us who identify as LGBTQIA+, and all of us, allies and proximate to those of us identified in this vector of our multifaceted identities, is to stay rooted in the truth of who we are, who you are, who we are, in the midst of this barrage of misinformation and prejudice intended to have us believe that we don't exist or we aren't meant to thrive. Um, Meant to believe that we're mistaken if we perceive that there are more than two genders, that a biological sex from birth defines a person forevermore only and concretely, and that's that, yada, yada, yada. It's an old trope, and I don't mean to be glib about it, but I think those of us here now know that, see that, but also feel the power of community to remind ourselves that it's not true. We don't have to believe those tropes, and we can find and rest in tropes of more safety, more clarity, more insight, more expansive wisdom, where we know that we are here in all senses of that word. That Mark, thank you for sort of fleshing out Hinenu and Hineni. I am here. We are here in every sense of the word, or the invitation is to allow ourselves to be that. Glorious. It's a glorious affirmation and an insistence that we're here, and we're not alone. So again, and I'm going to take it one step further. If you are or identify as trans or non-binary, genderqueer, bisexual, lesbian, gay, gender expansive, asexual, pansexual, whatever be your identity in these ways, Judaism says that you and all of us, all created beings, are magnificent embodiments of the divine, created B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God. And that's a word that may have caused trauma or challenge for some of us. It's an English 3-letter word. So please use that as a placeholder for that which is sacred and the highest and most beautiful and most depthful and most eternally true and divine, that that you are an embodiment of this, nothing less. And so that means that perhaps one of the not perhaps, scratch that, one of the faces of this divine mystery manifested here is trans. Yeah, yes. And could a facet of God be one who shimmers in their gender fluid wonder? You bet. Imagine that. Imagine that. So, in order to remind ourselves and to be seen in that dimension, that we are images of nothing less than the divine, all of us here in this moment, I want to invite you back to the gallery view on your screens that Mark invited us to earlier. And so we come together in this spiritual sanctuary space. And now I want to invite you not only to take in each other's panim, each other's faces, but also to allow yourself to be seen. And in that aspect of that resonant place within you that is a soul and an embodied, magnificent embellishment of soul. So seeing each other, these beautiful faces, as godly, divine. And if you've chosen or can't come onto screen right now, that's okay. We're seeing your names. We're seeing that space on this bigger Zoom tile screen. And just drink it in. If you could imagine that you are beholding something of the limitless in each square. Okay. So it may seem simple, it may seem basic, but really, y'all, like, it's so much more than we even know of the sacred that we are. So I want to invite you to try that on. Try on those garments during our time together and beyond, but especially right now, in times where ugliness might seem to be the pervasive sort of reflection and challenge and stress, remember your beauty and our beauty, and let's reflect it in each other. And now, to go a step further, I want to invite a little teaching. I thought a lot about what might be helpful in this space. And one of the things that I could take heart to hear is, well, how do we take heart during this time? How do we remember more quickly and nimbly and take in more deeply, that we are not that? And how do we manifest who we are and who we are together in the world in a scary time for so many of us? And to help me suggest to you something that I have been sitting with lately, and maybe it'll be helpful or of interest to you, so I offer it with this intention. I want to be super hyper literal and embodied about the Torah for a moment. Torah, that word can mean many things and might have many different valences for you. Everything from an endless compendium of esoteric and depthful wisdom teachings to concrete laws that determine this and that about our lives, to 5 books, the 5 books of Moses, as it's often referred to, that Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, um, or literally that scroll on which is inscribed those 5 books, from which Jewish communities open in different ways and read from on sacred occasions throughout the year. Okay, so what I want to invite you to is that last version, okay, that physical image of a Torah scroll. And I don't know, some of you may have thought about this or know this, but it was news to me when someone pointed out to me from a mystical teaching in an ancient Jewish text called the Bahir, that the first letter of the Torah is a bet. And that is the first letter of the word Breshit, which is the Hebrew word from which we get that first book of the Bible, of the Torah, Genesis, Breshit, translated variously, but in the beginning, the bet, that first letter, that's the opening for the whole entirety of all those writings, all those 5 books, right? And the very last letter, if you scroll through the whole entire Torah scroll, literally, the last word is Yisrael. So Yisrael gets the last, Israel gets the people Israel get the last, as a phrase, the last phrase and the last word in the Torah, and the very last letter of that word is Lamed. So why am I using our precious time to talk about, like, Kita Aleph, like basic stuff from the Torah? Well, to me, everything is here. Check this out. This is what I learned, and it's right there in plain sight. But like we are, it's special. You have to look a certain way to see us, to be us, to flourish here. So that last letter, Lamed, if you bring it around to the very first letter, the bet or vet, it spells a word. What is that word? Lev, heart. And Natalie, if you could, just to be a little didactic here, but if some of us are visual learners, okay. So here you see that word if we read Hebrew from right to left, so that lamed, like the ul sound, is on the right at the very top of the page. And that's that last letter of the Torah. And then you go all the way over to the beginning of the Torah, and there's that vet or bet with the dot in it. It's pronounced b, and the v is without that dot. That's one way to think of it. But so those 2 letters together, heart. So maybe you anticipate where I'm going with this. If you could scroll up just a little bit more, so we just have the English for a second for that last bit of the last the last word, the last letter, the last phrase of the Torah. You see the Lamed, and then you see the Bet up at the top. So now, if you put them together, heart. Okay, you can take that page down, and I think we've put a link, that Dropbox. You can take a look at it on your own screen, to bask in the visual of it. So here's the thing I was thinking about. There's so many ways to approach the profundity, I think, of this, that's right here in the embodied nature of this Torah scroll, that within the heart holds all the narratives, all the stories, the life journeys, the intergenerational, you know, mishaps and divine apparitions, and laws written, and all the stuff that makes the life for all the characters in the Torah, including the divine by many names in this scroll. So you could think of it in a way as the narratives, if we want to take it personally for a moment. Each of our own lives is like a Torah journey, a journey through all the relationships, all the phases of our lives, all the ups and downs, the ins and outs. And it's all held, the story of our life, your life, my life, and our collective lives, held in a great big heart. And that's kind of, it could be so, oh, that's so nice and hallmarky. But if you think about it, like, it's kind of like a wisdom teaching, like this whole gig of being alive and in these bodies and on this earth, in the garments of these bodies. We're all sort of in drag in these bodies, and if you, right, as divine consciousness, or a great big heart that puts on some clothes and then has a lot of stuff to say and do and experience over the course of a lifetime. It's all a heart learning. It's all held in a great big awareness of not just disembodied intellectual knowing and not just the physical, but a spiritual awareness that beats like a heart. And there's more. Okay, so that's one. But two, the second lesson. Oh, so and when I look at all the Torah narratives from that perspective, it can make a difference where I incline my own heart in relationship to it, and maybe so for you. But getting back to the actual physical scroll, and the fact that that word is not all together, right? It's not lave, the first word, or lave, the last word. There's a big distance between the two letters. And and this is where I want to offer particularly, what from in my own head, I think of it as like a kind of queer chush or sensibility on the Torah, on the Torah teaching or revelation, perhaps. That as a queer person, maybe those of us who identify that way, and those of us who are deeply closely allied, but particularly those of us who live this every day in our skin, in our bodies, know that there's sometimes a great distance between what we feel interiorly, what is safe and true and sacred about us, and then what's the outer manifestation, or the spaces that we have in the world to create the sacred reverberations from that inner life, that inner truth, you know? And so, you could see that the Lamed and the Vet, like, there's a distance between between the two. There sometimes is a great distance between parts of our psyche, right? That experience trauma, repression, consternation. We experience fear, we experience anger. It's not really okay to just live in the simple breath of the heart that Mark was guiding us into. And again, that beautiful grounding meditation, right? It should be so simple. It's our birthright in the Garden of Eden, and yet, according to the Torah narrative, but sometimes our experience isn't that, because of all the things, in that appear to create that distance. So, how do we take heart? Is one, to acknowledge that may be so for all of us in different ways on this call, and many of us in the world today, at least. We don't have to look far to find examples where it seems to be there's a great distance and a rupture between, speaking metaphorically now, but this teaching in a physical way, what could come, what is meant to be brought together, encompassing all, in the wholeness of the sacredness of our lives, right? But here's another thing that I've learned as a queer person, and I bet many of us on this call are where, have senses of this in each our own unique ways, and those who love us who identify this way, is that we know how to exist in that free fall between the structures, right? There's something about queerness I'm going to suggest or invite you to consider that knows what it is to live in that space in between. The space in between language, like I'm now 60 years old. When I was growing up, I didn't have a language word called non-binary. There was lesbian, there was gay. I didn't know about the others that might have been. Now, that's a long time ago in Atlanta, Georgia, and that's a very specific experience. But I bring it because I want to tell you that when I learned that word, when I heard it, oh, that explains it. And like the distance between my own interior Lamed and Bet, whoosh, it felt whole for just a breath, and then more breaths. And so if something about your experience isn't reflected in the dominant language of our cultural experience, it might feel like we don't have the words, but we know. But you know. I'm seeing some heads nodding. Hmm. And I want to remind us on this call tonight in this teaching before we go into practice in a couple minutes, that of all the tools that we do have. And that knowing, where is that knowing of how to be in the in between? Where, you know, it's not something we could generate just on our own power and steam, perhaps. It's like deeply embedded in perhaps that part of us that is created in the image of a reflection of something bigger than our culturally conditioned experience that may not have the words, and experiences that living in the rupture between the stability. And there's another way in which some of us might be feeling the rupture of the heart right now. Perhaps some of us, um, you know, in our journey towards flourishing and thriving, we've taken to the practice of naming pronouns. Some of us may choose not to, but for some of us, it may have been a liberating experience and something very sacred to name your identity. Some of us may have started or are in some process with gender affirming treatments, including, you know, things for which we have to have, all the medical and all the insurance and all that, the therapeutic support. Or some of us may have passports that suddenly we read on the news may not be valid soon, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to stir up the fear, the fright, the anguish, the anger, all the things, except to name some of our realities and the realities of some of those that we love, and our shared humanity, that it might be feeling more in that rupture. What was true or starting to become more true and manifest might feel ruptured right now. And so we feel maybe like the Lamed and the Bet might be more like two ends of a trapeze, right? And if we are, each of us, walking that on that trapeze now, or like holding the trapeze bar, it may be more like, oh, I've let go of the bar and I'm sort of in between, and I don't know about that safety net. So I don't want to dwell on it, but I want to name the challenge in so many dimensions of so many of our lives right now, and then bring it back to the spiritual challenge. So how do we be in this rupture when we feel feelings that aren't comfortable, and our safety may feel very much at risk, and things that felt safe to do and how to be and manifest don't feel as safe right now? Or someone we love may be really suffering right now, and we don't know how to help them. I met a very special young trans person recently who shared that they were having a crisis of faith. What could be a God that would let all of this happen? Wow. So I want to invite you not to any, final answer to solve, but I want to invite us into that space of that paradox that this lave is both at the same time whole, and it's big enough to hold all of these emotions, feelings, thoughts, all the challenges. And that space in between that seems to be rupture. And from one perspective, you bet, we're not sugarcoating it, but it's an invitation to be in the mystery of being. And I say this, so not glibly. The mystery that's like, where are we before we're born in into these bodies, and where do we go after we drop these bodies and the body dies, right? That level of the unfathomable space that's not in the narrative of a life, but rather, the mystery that sits right alongside with the wholeness, the fullness, and the emptiness, you could say. And our practice that Mark invited us into, it's no different than what we did, those of us who were on this call, from the beginning, Breshit. We strengthen the muscular capacity, the muscle of the heart, to stay present, to feel it all as the big energies and small energies move through us, to breathe into it, to lean in with each other and to each other, and to know that we have choice. On one level, choice of, the process of coming out, we know happens all the time. It's not just a one and done. And I heard someone say, a gay man from Spiritual Directors International a few months ago, it's not, what if we think of it as not coming out, but who I invite in? So I want to offer that as a way to hold, right? Like to hold, you may discern every day, every moment, who you'd like to invite into your sacred space, who, however you define that. And that it's okay to rest in that knowing. And, inviting in is its own form of coming out that is also generative in the space of the not knowing and the want and the tending your heart wherever you are a given particular day or moment. Okay. So I want to invite us into a meditation. There's so many things we could share and say, and we'll have time for that towards the end of this hour. But before that, I want to invite us into a short practice to sit together, sort of do the spelunking down into the heart muscle together, each of us as we choose. If you choose to keep your eyes open or go off screen for the short meditation, please feel free to do so. And if some of it doesn't feel comfortable or safe for you right now, okay, you don't have to do this. There's an invitation. It's an invitation. Um, and just like the Torah scroll, it has on one level beginnings and endings, but it's an eternal spiral. It goes on in cycles. So to here, we'll just dip in for a few brief, minutes of shared practice space in this way. Again, returning to the intention to nourish our broken and whole hearts, and dwelling right in the crux of that paradox of the long space between that ending and beginning. There is that wholeness that we breathe into and rest in, even if it's mystery that can't be solved, and even with all the flavors and stripes of feelings and thoughts and experiences. Okay. So I invite you to, again, find in this moment a comfortable position, sitting, or in whatever other way your body would like to rest comfortably and alertly right now, gently alert. And I invite you to let your eyes close. And feel your feet on the floor or inside your socks or shoes. Wiggle the toes wherever your feet may be right now. Feeling the grounding and the support of the chair underneath your bottom, or whatever is the seat that you sit on now. And just receiving the next breath and allowing it to fill your body. And you might even choose to, as you release the breath, open the mouth and let out a sigh. Just let the breath, just let it flow out. Noticing the space between the ending of that breath and as the next breath has returned or entered your body. You might bring awareness to now your shoulders and just notice how the shoulders are resting under the ears, and if there feels to be any tension or holding that you might want to just breathe into, maybe release a little bit, maybe any gentle movements to help relax those shoulders. And now, in your mind's eye, you might, with the next in-breath, track that breath as it makes the long journey from the nostrils down through the face and throat, the neck, into the area of the chest. And with the out breath, imagining that breath rising up through the heart, through the neck, and out through the face, through the nostrils. And just practice here for a few breaths, bringing your awareness to follow that breath, moving naturally from the face down into, through the nostrils and the neck, into the chest, and specifically the heart, which is just to the left of the center of the chest. And as the breath continues to move in and out, you can begin to notice if the heart is beating in a way that you can perceive it. Feel your own heart beating, pumping blood in and out, inspired by this oxygen moving in and through the body, and the out breath releasing that transformed out breath. And if you like, I invite you to take that hand and just place it on the heart, on your chest, and feel the warmth of the touch of your own benevolent self. The hand, the palm, the fingertips, gently resting on the cloth, clothing, and underneath that, the skin, underneath the sternum, the tissues, that muscle of the heart beating and beating so steadfastly. Closing a gap with awareness between the outside and the interior realms of the heart. You can leave your hand there, or you can let it gently Rest back down. And we'll sit for just a few more breaths in the quiet. And I invite you in the quiet into some communing, being with that gentle, steadfast, beautiful beat of your own heart. If your mind wanders, no big deal. Just gently come back. Follow the breath down into the heart. And for the next moment or two, I invite you to listen to the heart within the heart, the spiritual heart, the wisdom seat in the heart of your own knowing. And see if there's a gift for you. If there's something for you there that wants to be known and given to your conscious mind, your awareness. And you might, with the next in-breath, thank this beautiful heart, the seat of your own knowing. And with the next out-breath, begin to bring your awareness back to this beautiful group of us here right now. Shared heart space, shared wisdom space. And as we prepare to open our eyes, if they're closed, just a reminder for a last breath in this meditation to breathe back into the back of your heart. It's the inside of the shoulder blades that has your heart's back, the back of the heart. As a reminder, you've got this. You've got this, and you've got that hand on the back of your heart, on your back. And then as you're ready, you can slowly let your eyes, kind of flutter open if they're closed. Stretch if you need to, if you want to, and then find your way back to our shared space here. And just notice the quality of your being right now, what you're feeling, thinking, how your body is right now presenting in your awareness, and the state of your spirit, your soul. Just bringing into the lamed and the bet of the heart of our awareness all that's happening right now. And I think as we come back, some of us may choose to stay off screen, but I invite you to come back on screen if you like and you can. So we have some minutes now for some comments, reflections, questions, and answers. And for that, to help guide us through that, Mark and I will share, we'll alternate or share responding or commenting, but Mark will lead us through this next part of our time together.